back, everybody, and I want to let you know this episode is sponsored by absolutely fucking nobody. So if you want to get down there, let us know. We're going to give you some top quarterback prospects, but Maddie's over in Thailand, which here's the weird thing. Maddie's in the future and I'm in the past.
Yeah, for me, it's 8 in the morning right now
on Friday. And it's Thursday night at 8 o'clock here by me.
Yeah, this actually works a lot better, really, than some of our other recording situations that we've had to do before, where it's like, May, can you be up at 2 in the morning? That'd be great. It's like, yeah, cool.
Yeah,
whereas
this winging it all the way through. That episode of winging it had to be rough on you.
Yeah, I mean that was like 5. That was like 5 in the morning,
and so you were still funny. So go figure.
That's where that's where it's at. That's where it's at. But yeah, I'm out in Thailand right now. I'm doing my teaching stuff. So fun, very fun.
All right. Well, Maddie, there's a lot of crazy quarterback shit going on in the NFL, but we are going to, at least at the beginning of this, focus on our draft prospects. So I was thinking go 5-1. Is that how you want to do it?
Yeah, that's how I was thinking.
All right. So I guess I'll just lead the charge and tell you that my number 5 quarterback is Anthony Richardson, Florida. Okay. I had a hard time putting him at 5. I almost put Will Levis above him, but I think he's ass too.
Oh, wow. So, okay. So Will Levis drops out of your top 5 as well.
Yeah, because he's ass.
Talk about that in a sec. But yeah, Anthony Richardson could be a phenomenal talent. But it depends what you want, really, in a QB. And like Anthony Richardson has to sit for at least a year. He has to learn how to play the quarterback position. And the teams that are looking at these top 5 QB prospects do not need that. That's not what they need. The top 5 teams that need a QB don't need somebody who could sit. So like people like the Panthers need someone to play now. The Texans desperately need somebody to play now. The Colts, they just need somebody to run an offense and play now.
I think the Raiders is where he's going to end up, but that's just me.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the Raiders make sense because the Raiders have Jimmy Garoppolo, so he can sit. But like, are you wanting to draft a guy that's not going to play in the first round? It's an interesting. It's Anthony Richardson's an interesting conundrum.
Did you watch his pro day? Because his PR team should be paid. So Anthony Richardson throwing to guys in fucking shorts and tank tops, throws a bad ball to a guy. Next play, dings it off the rafters on purpose. I don't care what anybody says. He did that shit on purpose. And then at his last throw on the deep ball, the receiver has to stop, turn around to catch the ball. So that's a bad throw. So he runs and does a backflip. So he wowed you with his athleticism every time he did something that showed he couldn't fucking throw the ball.
Yeah, and his not being able to throw the fucking ball is really irritating due to it's inconsistency as well, which is the main problem for Anthony Richardson. And is that what you want? Like in the end, if you're inconsistent in college, chances are that's not going to be great in the NFL, especially not in year 1, year 2. You know, like it's not going to be great in the NFL. And everybody's like, oh, Josh Allen. And it's like, right. Is Josh Allen not the exception? Is he not the exception to the rule?
Plus, if you go back, and I had to do this because other analysts were saying this, if you go back and watch him in college, yeah, he had a low percentage of completion for what you want, but a lot of the shit was his receivers not catching the fucking ball.
Yeah, and Josh Allen was at Wyoming, not Florida.
And I'm a firm believer, you've heard me say this, I don't really think you can fix accuracy a ton. Either you're accurate or you're not, and he's not. And I think, and I don't know if, and everybody's like, well, his upside. Sure, okay, he's got great upside, but are you really going to take a guy in top 10 just based on upside? That's what's crazy to me.
Yeah, and I didn't know whether to do this top 5 based on like where I think they're going to get drafted.
I didn't. It's the way I like them.
Yeah, I've done it just the way I like them, and the way that the way that this next guy is that I've picked up 5, because Anthony Richardson is 6 for me.
Okay.
So the next guy is who I've picked up 5 is I'm not drafting him in the first round. I'm going to try and get him 3rd, 4th, around there. And it's Tanner McGee from Stanford. I really like Tanner McGee from Stanford. There's something about him that I really enjoy watching, how he runs an offense.
Yeah, again, that's another guy that just doesn't have enough starts for me.
Yeah, it's just how he runs an NFL offense. He's one of the most accurate quarterbacks. He's kind of like the antithesis to Anthony Richardson. He's one of the most accurate quarterbacks in his class. He has a good ability. He has lightning quick processing. Like he can, like his reads are pretty fucking unreal. So if I'm a team that needs a guy to start now, but I also have a decent amount of holes in my team. So if I'm, say, the Indianapolis Colts, I don't want to draft a QB at 4 if I'm not getting Bryce Young or CJ Stroud. I don't want to draft a QB at 4. So
I think they want Will Levis at 4, and I think they're crazy.
Yeah, that's mental. I don't want to pick up any QB at 4 overall that isn't Bryce Young or CJ Stroud. So for the actual value you get, and I've got Will Levis in my top 5. But for the value you get, the value drop down from Will Levis to Tanner McGee, because I don't think either of them are changing life crazy amounts in Indianapolis, but Tanner McGee can actually sit, run an offense, and be accurate and do what you want him to do.
Okay, so I guess I'll let you go this one. We'll take some turns here. What do you got going on at number 4?
Yeah, so number 4 for me is Will Levis. And number 4, I think Will Levis has the advantage over Anthony Richardson. So he has the advantage over Tanner McGee just because of the physical abilities that he possesses over Tanner McGee. And I think he's shown more consistency than Anthony Richardson. And if I'm taking a flyer on a guy, I want a little bit of consistency. Now, his draft process has not been great. Like his pro day was decent to watch. His at the combine, he was okay. Like at the combine, he was pretty unbelievable, but it's just Anthony Richardson also happened to be there. So like it kind of knocks him down a little bit as well. But there is no way that I'm drafting him in, say, the top 10 QBs. Like he's a first round QB, but I wouldn't even draft him in the top 10 because there's so much other talent on this board. There's so much other talent on this board that you have in other positions. And the only reason he's going to go top 5 maybe is because he's a quarterback and teams need a quarterback. But the drop off between him and players like Tanner McGee is just not. It's not enough to warrant. You can get a first and a second round pick in between Will Levis and Tanner McGee.
Will Levis to me is Mac Jones with a cannon.
But I don't think his processing is as good as Mac Jones.
If you go off of 2022 or the year before, then I think he looked a lot better. But he's not super athletic, which is what everybody seems to want right now. He seems to read defenses okay when he's not running for his life, but he's not like the super accurate guy who takes some touch on the ball, which that might be able to be learned, whatever. But I don't think his ceiling's super high. Like I don't mean this like horribly, but I think he's a game manager at best. And so is that really what you're going to spend a top pick on? Is a guy that at best is, yeah, he's pretty good.
At best, he's like Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins, that kind of game manager, a game manager plus.
I still think it's disrespectful to put Dak in the same conversation as Kirk, but we won't even go there.
But you know the kind of player that I mean, though, like the game manager plus, like the game manager.
Yeah, he's like
every now and again,
or Jimmy G, or like that's how I see him. I don't know.
Yeah, Yeah, like, and the top side of those guys is Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins, where like you're a game manager, but you can win it. Like you can win a game on your, but you can basically carry a team to win a game by yourself every now and again. We don't need to go into the Dak Kirk
I mean,
conversation.
most in NFL history in one season, 8. But I digress.
But like you know what I mean? Like there's game managers who can kind of carry you, but are you spending a top 5, top 10 pick on that? Like that's crazy.
If somebody drafted him at 15 or 18,
yeah.
I'd be like, okay, I get it.
Yeah. It's like people talking about moving up to 3 to go get Will Levis. It's like, hey, fuck's sake, have we not learned anything from what happened with the 49ers and Trey Lance? Like, take the Brock Purdy. The Brock Purdy is Tanner McGee, Hayden Hooker. Like those guys that you can draft in the 3rd round. Who else have we got in there?
I don't know. I just got to say this. Poor Trey Lance, because none of this is his fucking fault.
Yeah. There was no need to fucking like Clayton Tune, Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
Whoa. Don't take my number 4 quarterback and disrespect him.
But that's what I mean. Like you can get value. Like the drop off. Everybody in this draft, right? This has really pissed me off. So the only drop off in this draft is between 1 and 2. From 3 to 10, you have at 10. You have like Stenson Bennett, who is like not unbelievable, but he's the fucking national champ.
I truly believe that my number 4 and 5 quarterback will have better careers because they will land in better spots than my 1 and 2 quarterback.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, I could see them the 1 and 2. I could definitely agree with fucking like 4 and 6 where I've put Anthony Richardson. You're 5.
Well, that's not where I got my guys going. So like I said, I put this as who I think are the favorites, but I think Will Levis and Anthony Richardson are going to go before the 2 guys I have above them.
Yeah, I agree, but I imagine they're going to have worse careers as well. Some based on situation, but also fucking based on actual talent.
Yeah, I think where Will Levis would be perfect with Bill Belichick.
Yeah,
because he knows what it's like to run with a system with a guy who's not super athletic.
Yeah, and him and Mac Jones are not getting on. Like I don't understand.
Good for Mac Jones though. Fuck that. You shouldn't be a punching bag.
Yeah, you go, Mac Jones. It's just, yeah, that whole situation's crazy.
We could do a whole podcast on Bill Belichick's bad decisions last year.
Yeah, we could do a whole podcast on where the fuck we think Mac Jones would go, because that's a really interesting question, because most of the seats are filled now with either draft prospects or
And the only thing I could think of, if he's going to move, it'll be a draft day trade where Belichick will want somebody. If he's not going to ride with Zappy, it'd be a quarterback. If he's going to ride with Zappy, and right there and there, somebody misses out on their quarterback and calls up Bill and goes, let's do that trade. That's the only way I could see Mac being moved.
If I'm the Colts, if I'm the Colts and I'm not taking Lamar Jackson, I'm calling Bill and saying, hey man, let's trade a pick. Because then I'll give you a second rounder for Mac Jones.
Well, I think the Colts, if they really, this is what I think they should do. I think when they're on the clock at number 4, if there's a couple quarterbacks still there, they should call the fucking Ravens and go, I will give you number 4 for Lamar right now, dead even.
Yeah, that's not a bad play either. But you just sit there and you just go, like, for fuck's sake. Like, I'd just be sat at number 4 and be like, there's no way that any of these guys are worth a 4th.
No, and my number 4 guy is DTR, Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Mm-hmm. I think he's the 4th best. Here's my thing. So people, I like Hayden Hooker, and there's other people who like in the media who seem to like him and see him moving up the draft board actually. And I think he's going to go in the 1st round. But if you're going to talk about Hayden Hooker and high prestige with 70% passing, 106 quarterback rating, that's what DTR has too. Exactly. 70%. He's got 29 games as a starter too, which I like. So I don't understand why he's not getting the love shown to him that like Hayden Hooker is getting? Or you really going to tell me you're going to look at Will Levis's play and say that DTR didn't actually outplay him as a college player? And I know they're going to go, well, he played in the Pac-12. He did. And they're awful defenses in the Pac-12. I get that. But he still showed that he can read a defense. He's very athletic, 12 running touchdowns. So you want that athletic guy, but he is a guy who wants to be in the pocket. So I don't know why he doesn't get much love, but I watched more and more of him, and I just fell in love with him.
Yeah, I mean, 2022 season, PFF grade of 74.8, which is pretty decent, really. But completion rate of 69.3%, yards, 3,159 yards. But what's impressive about that is it's a yards per attempt of 8.2%, 27 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. And I mean,
right.
Yeah, 10 interceptions isn't great, but you know.
But if you look at the years before, his interceptions were lower, so it might
like
be that he was willing to take more chances. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. I really struggled to understand the whole like Pac-12 narrative, if you get what I mean, because he's fucking playing at Stanford as well, like like
USC.
USC. Sorry.
Now they're a Big Ten moving forward, or one more year. I don't remember, but yeah. But USC, you're playing Oregon, you're playing fucking Utah's tough every fucking year, and they play Utah
Yeah, and USC is Lincoln Riley, right? So yeah, so he has had a good offensive upbringing. You can almost see the increasing of his stats with Lincoln Riley's arrival. But I mean, that just means he's been well coached. And when he's been well coached, he's played well, USC had a big turnaround this year. USC look like they're fun. They don't really play any defense, but they're still a fun team.
I just don't see why he's not getting any love from the talking heads at all.
Yeah, 100%. So he's my 7th overall, but I think that's just because of just not really watching, like not really getting into loads of film. But Dorian Thompson-Robinson is a much better value QB than fucking Will Levis and Anthony Richardson.
He's my plan B for the Vikings.
Yeah, nice.
That if I was a GM, he's my plan B.
Yeah, if my team went, if I'm the Colts, and the Colts pick up, I don't know, Jalen Carter with the 4th overall pick, or they trade out. If I'm the Colts, I'm trying my fucking hardest to trade out of that pick. Okay, so you trade out of that pick, you move back, you pick up some more picks, right? And then your team drafts Hayden Hooker or Dorian Thompson-Robinson or someone like that.
You just gave away my plan A and my plan B.
Only key, right? You pick that up, it's just like, holy shit, you've just got so much better value in the draft. The process is draft McGee, Hooker, Dorian Thompson-Robinson in the 3rd.
Well, with my number 3 quarterback is Hayden Hooker, and I pray that he's still sitting there at 23 for the Vikings.
Wow, so you would take him in the 1st round?
Without a doubt.
Do you remember when we did this show? And I said, oh, if I'm the Colts, I'm trading back and taking Hayden Hooker late in the 1st just to make sure I get him or early in the 2nd. And you said that's terrible process. And then
that's before I watch more of his film.
Yeah. But now that he's actually moving up draft boards, and it's all fucking Chris Sims' fault. So Chris Sims has gone and put him at 3 as well.
I did it before Chris Sims. I just want some credit.
Yeah.
Did that
I give you that credit. I give you that credit. On this show, we've been pushing the Hayden Hooker bandwagon for months. For months now.
I actually wouldn't be mad at a team that traded into the 1st round at the end to get DTR so you get that 5th-year option either. If you're going to go for a quarterback, I don't have a problem you going for that 5th-year option. My only argument is, why are you going to take a guy like Tony Richardson or Will Levis in the top 10 to 20 picks when neither of them have proven that they're pro style quarterbacks, like as in the fact they have different problems. Will Levis, a lot of injuries, but he doesn't throw as accurate as I like. And Tony Richardson is not accurate. So this is where I'm like, I don't know why these guys are getting so much love when there's guys behind them that I think are equal or better.
Yeah. I think with this, I cross into a worrying amount of hypocrisy because of Justin Fields. But Justin Fields and Anthony Richardson are not the fucking same player, right?
Justin Fields had a way better career at Ohio State.
Yeah. Justin Fields doesn't have a consistency issue. It's not a consistency issue with Justin Fields. It's just a general accuracy issue. We know that Justin Fields won't throw it to a guy who isn't open. Like, he won't make a guy open. But fucking Ohio State, everybody was open. So he's accurate when they're open. Anthony Richardson can't hit people when they're fucking open.
They keep saying Anthony Richardson's super athletic. Okay, he's fast, but he's not as shifty as Lamar or Justin Fields or and even though he's huge, I haven't seen him run people over like Jalen Hurts or Josh Allen either.
Yeah. I just don't get it. I genuinely don't get the Anthony Richardson hype apart from the underwear Olympics. Which is the most ridiculous thing.
I call him Jamarcus Russell 2.0. So,
oof, ouch. Yeah. I mean, the thing with Jamarcus,
Jamarcus Russell could not run. He was not the athlete that Richardson is.
But. Yeah, and also with that, like, NFL offenses are getting better at working with freak athletes now. Like, you could create an offense around Anthony Richardson. Like, don't get me wrong, but he's just huge. Like, he's just massive. It's like Usain Bolt wouldn't be a fucking awesome NFL player because he just is really quick in a fucking straight line. But when there's when there's people in the way,
I don't know what we're doing. But Usain Bolt tried out for the NFL and he can't catch.
Yeah. Yeah, he tried to play football, like soccer football, for a long time. We're doing you a favor. Like, by the way, all Vegas Raiders fans who wish
that's where Richardson's going anyway. That's my guess anyway.
100% where he's going, but we're trying to do you a favor here. Like, Anthony Richardson.
He hated Derek Carr. Wait till Suggs 3 years into Anthony Richardson.
Yeah,
Anthony. Okay, yeah, that was pretty right. You're right. That was a harsh one.
Anthony Richardson would be great to take a flyer on in the third round.
Do you know what, though? Here's the thing. If that kid actually learns how to read a defense and throw, we're going to look like fucking idiots.
Still, the process is fucked. Like,
I agree with that.
When we talk draft, when me and you talk draft, I
think you have a good shot at getting Richardson. I really do. I think people are overestimating how high he's going to go.
Yeah.
I think 7 is where you probably see him.
When me and you talk draft, we talk process in the moment because nobody knows how these guys are going to pan out. Like, nobody looks fucking stupid because Tom Brady fell to the 6th round. Like, nobody looks stupid because Brock Purdy fell to the 6th round because it's still the right process.
Yeah, I would say the last team that ended up looking stupid, like legitimately, was Alex Smith over Aaron Rodgers.
Mitch Trubisky over Pat Mahomes, maybe.
Okay. I did not think Patrick Mahomes was going to be fucking Patrick Mahomes either, though. Like,
nobody
Andy Reid is a fucking genius.
Yeah, I think
because Patrick Mahomes had shitty numbers at Texas.
Yeah, who's the first that year? Who's the first? Who did the Bears trade? So the Bears trade up to get
Trubisky was bad because they traded up one spot to get a guy who only played like 14 games in college.
So they trade up one spot to get Trubisky, and they would have gotten Trubisky if they stayed in the same spot.
But they would have got Trubisky if they'd have drafted him in the 2nd round, but we won't even go there.
Yeah. So the whole...
You're right. Yeah. I forgot about Trubisky. But the Alex Smith, Aaron Rodgers, every talking head said Aaron Rodgers was better than Alex Smith. And he was from the Bay Area, and they went with Alex Smith. Real weird situation.
Yeah. That process is wrong. But we talk process. And the best process for a guy that we know fucking nothing about because he's inaccurate and he's inconsistent.
He seems like a great kid.
Yeah, he's inaccurate and inconsistent in college, though. Like, let's
he's got
translate
like a
that to the
53% fucking completion percentage.
Let's trade that to the NFL where there's guys running around at his size. Like Anthony Richardson will get fucking killed at points in the NFL. Like, because when you watch him run, he doesn't run through people for me, Anthony Richardson. Like, he doesn't look at a brick wall and think, I'm just going to fucking run through that. And
which is not good for your quarterback, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I know. And it would be fine if he had like a sidestep, a juke, as you guys call it. But he doesn't have one of them in the locker either.
No, at least not that I saw at Florida.
When he tries to move sideways, it looks like he stood in treacle. Like, I don't see it. I just don't see any of it. So a flyer in the third round. He's Malik Willis.
Okay.
Right. He's Malik Willis.
And
just slightly more athletic.
He's probably faster, and Malik's probably got more shiftiness to him. So yeah, I'll go with that.
Yeah, he's Malik Willis, which was a great flyer in the third round. That hasn't worked out for the Titans.
I agree, though, but that process was correct.
Yeah, that process is 100% right. What happened is Malik Willis didn't go to the Underwear Olympics and just go fucking blow up, you know? Anthony Richardson's PR team are unbelievable. My third overall QB is Hayden Hooker. Again,
we both got Hayden at third.
Yeah, so. If Hayden Hooker wasn't, if it wasn't for the ACL, Hayden Hooker would be. If it wasn't for Hayden Hooker, if it wasn't for the ACL, Hayden Hooker would probably be top 10 QB.
Is it weird to you that everybody keeps going, but he's 25? It's like, dude, okay, so if he sucks, he's out of the league in 4 or 5 years. Doesn't matter. If he's good and he plays 10 or 12 years, the GM and the coach still ain't there by that time anyway. Like, where is this problem with a 10 to 12 year career if it's good? Like, it's so confusing to me.
I think it's a good thing. I think there is a problem in the NFL to rush young talent into it and to just say, what? You okay? To just there's this thing in the NFL where you rush young talent into it, and if they're not good,
I think Maddie, I think those were emojis that came through.
Yeah, I think so too. They're not good. You toss them onto the junk heap by 22. Like by 22, 23, if you're no good, then you're not in the NFL anymore by 22, 23. And I think that's a crazy way to. What other sport is that real? Like, in most sports, the peak is between 25 to 30.
I can't watch it. I tried, but this is why the XFL and the USFL are good. Because guys will be able to show something and then get back to a training camp again as they get older. Like, I think it's going to be good for some young players, like, to have that. And I have to tell you, because I just thought of it, because of you, I went and watched some of the German NFL league. I tried, dude. It's like a D3 college playing each other. Did you see that tackle football with no pads I sent you?
No.
Because I said fuck rugby and put a laughing face by a video. They play tackle football here in the U.S. It's called A7s, and they wear no pads.
Yeah, that's where you should send people. Like, you should, if your defense is soft, if your defensive players are not tackling hard and you have a soft defense, stick them in that league for a little bit, see what happens. Yeah, but with Hayden Hooker, I don't see why being mature, knowing your game, have experience playing at top level in college, shown growth throughout your career at college. I don't understand why that's a bad thing. I don't get that either. I
think the Saints scare me because I think they're the other team besides the Vikings who might want to take him in the first round, and that scares me.
Yeah, I mean, the ACL scares me, but he should be back.
ACL. What they do with surgery nowadays, and teams like the Saints and the Vikings can let him sit a year because that would be the perfect thing for him anyway. Sit behind Cousins, sit behind Carr, and then, you know.
Yeah. That's the thing with if I'm the if I'm the Colts, if I'm the Raiders,
If you can drop back to the teens and still get him as the Colts and pick something else up, it's a fucking win.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And you can, if you get back to the teens, I don't think anybody's taking him higher than 20. So
as long as Maddie's not getting fired for starting Gardner Minshew, he'll be fine.
I still think it's better process than drafting Will Levis and Anthony Richardson.
I fucking don't like them too either. I'm just saying that I think you're in a bad spot when your quarterback room looks the way it does.
Having watched more film, I'm not picking a QB at 4, and I'm taking. If
the guy I want is not there, I'm trying to get Lamar with that pick.
Yeah, well, yeah, Lamar is the first port of call, right? You go Lamar Jackson, and then you don't fucking dare pick a quarterback in the 4th round. But do you know what I would do now? New process for the Colts. Trade back out, take Hayden Hooker in the 20s, high teens, so like 18 to like 20, whatever. Okay, take Hayden Hooker there. And then with your 3rd round pick, you take McGee. Take 2 QBs.
So, well, at number 2, I got the Buckeyes, Ohio State, CJ Stroud.
Yeah, Sam, I think we have the same top 3. I take CJ Stroud here as well. I think CJ Stroud is a safer bet for
I just can't wrap my head around the fact that he's an Ohio State quarterback. And that's what's really hard for me because they've just been so, and I know don't judge the player, not the helmet, but like the helmet has proven for years that they're just not good NFL quarterbacks. But what I saw in that fucking game against Georgia, I was really impressed.
Yeah, it's interesting how you can have so much, like your entire thing changes, your entire narrative changes about you because of one game. Like you have a whole season, one game.
The thing about the Georgia game is, so I saw the accuracy, I saw the reading defenses all season, but the way he got out of the pocket, moved and ran. But it's the same thing they did with Justin Herbert. They didn't let him do that in college until the bowl game, and then you saw it because they were fucked if CJ or Herbert got hurt during the year, so they played more conservative and then let him go in the bowl games or playoffs. And so I think that's what we saw with CJ Stroud is like, okay, I know he's a pocket quarterback, and I think he just showed me in that game that he can get out the pocket and extend plays.
Yeah, CJ Stroud. That Georgia game is probably one of the best things that's ever happened to CJ Stroud. If he won it, it would have been even crazier.
It's crazy how it did so much for him and did nothing for Stetson Bennett.
Yeah, I know. I kind of feel sorry for Stetson Bennett in a way.
I don't. He's trash.
Is he not just a slightly smaller Mac Jones?
See, now, this is a guy, if you want to talk about being 25, why would I draft a 25-year-old backup?
I would never draft 25-year-old Stetson Bennett.
No, because he's a backup at best.
Yeah, and it's not like he's shown the craziest amount of maturity or progression like Hayden Hooker either. Like the things that you get from the things that you get from taking a 25-year-old quarterback is like knowing yourself, maturity, hopefully lack of off the field issues, good with teammates. And don't get me wrong, Stetson Bennett is great with teammates and all of that kind of thing, but has he shown the same maturity and professionalism as Hayden Hooker? No.
Well, who do you have at number 2, Maddie?
So for me at number 2, I've got CJ Stroud. I think he's the safer. Option between Bryce Young and himself. Just because of the height thing, but I don't really take the height thing into account. And if I'm drafting top 10, I'm not upset. Do you know what? If I'm the Texans, I'm fine with whoever I get either way in that respect, because I'd rather be picking at 2 here than I would rather be picking at 1, here in a weird way, because if you draft Bryce Young at 1 and the height is an issue, that's your job. And CJ Stroud looks good, then that's your job. I don't think it's going to be an issue. He's been playing, Bryce Young has been playing in the fucking SEC where everybody's a monster anyway. So it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I just I look at it and think CJ Stroud, great kid, cannon of an arm, accurate, can move around in the pocket first, move around after. And I think if he goes to the Panthers or the Texans and they manage to put a few weapons around him, then that would be a great pick for him.
Yeah, I think CJ Stroud is in a better position with the Texans because of the coaching staff, because of if they don't want to throw him to the Wolves right away, you do have Davis Mill, who has played some games. You can put him in there. That's going to be based all on a really tough running game and defense with D'Amico Ryans in there now. Running Shanahan's offense is always quarterback friendly. And I really, really, truly believe the Panthers are going to ruin Bryce Young. I think he is the best quarterback in the draft, and I think the Panthers are going to ruin him. And everybody's like, Frank Reich. What has Frank Reich done? They're like, he didn't do a great job in Indy. And then they're like, well, what about the Eagles? Well, go look at the Jags. That seems to be Doug Peterson that carried that Eagles team. So I'm not sure Frank Reich's the right guy for a guy like Bryce Young anyway. That's not the style quarterback that Frank played either.
Yeah, I remember I was listening to Colin Cowherd. I think he might be my when I have to pay penance for my sins, I think I go listen to Colin Cowherd.
See, I only listen to him if Joe Klatt's on.
Yeah. No, I don't mind. I don't mind Colin Cowherd because I think he just goes through a fucking crazy range of opinions, and I like to know what the historian in me likes to know what everybody's thinking. You know, even if I don't agree, I like to know. I like to listen to understand what the fuck are you thinking? I like to know. Yeah, he said that Frank Reich has a way with quarterbacks of making them better. And it's like, well, Carson Wentz, sure, but begs to fucking differ when he was in Indy. It just looked like he got worse.
When did he make Carson Wentz better?
Yeah, exactly. It's Doug Peterson. It's clearly Doug Peterson, right?
Yeah, and they're both ex-NFL quarterbacks. So, why does Frank get the credit right away?
Yeah, I don't really get the whole Frank Peterson thing. On another note, as to why CJ Stroud would be better off when he goes to Texas, is they have the 12th overall pick as well, and can take Jackson Smith and Jigba, his Ohio State teammate, 12th overall, and give him that familiar player.
I really feel like the Texans are moving in the right direction. I feel like the Panthers are frantically paddling.
Yeah. The other part of that though is that if Bryce Young comes in and plays well, he could become a division champ and get to the playoffs quite quickly.
Wow.
Is the thing. He's not got the craziest amount of competition the competition in his division now is Baker Mayfield.
I think you're all underestimating Baker on that.
I agree. Baker to Tampa might be one of the best moves of the offseason.
And Derek Carr to the Saints. I don't know.
People aren't talking about that enough. But you're hoping that Bryce Young comes in and is better than Baker Mayfield, Derek Carr, and
Desmond Ridder.
Desmond Ridder. Yeah, then Desmond Ridder. Yeah. Maybe it should be Lamar Jackson by now, by the way. The Falcons.
Yeah, let's not call bullshit on fucking Arthur Blank because he was all in for Deshaun Watson. And now all of a sudden Lamar's asking for too much. Get the fuck out of here. It's that guaranteed contract that all the owners are conspiring to keep from happening.
Yeah, they've just turned up and just gone, nah, we're not letting that happen again.
I think there's going to be a team that's willing to trade for Lamar after the draft because then they'll give up next year's picks. And I've always said next year's picks are less valuable for some reason to teams.
I don't know about in this particular draft, though. Like, what I like about
Every
the
year
Bears,
we hear next year is a better draft class.
I don't know. I don't know. Everybody knew last year's draft class was shit. So
why does everybody act like that? Like next year they got can't miss fucking prospects. Like,
yeah.
I think a team trades for Lamar and gives him a 3-year, $150 million fully guaranteed contract. That's what I think happens.
Yeah, If I'm the Falcons, I'm ringing that bell straight away. But yeah, Bryce Young could go to a division that is winnable, just with the way that teams are.
I'm just afraid for him.
Yeah, I mean, the fucking Houston Texans are in the AFC South, which is probably the least functional of all the divisions. So
I was actually going to say the Texans have a real shot at winning some shit.
Yeah.
Because if you look, their team was way better than we all thought they were going to be this year. Not that they were great by any means, but they were way better than we all thought they were. They hung into games. We thought, holy shit, how are they not getting blown out? They were a great bet against the spread. Like they always covered the fucking spread, and they got a good running team. And that defense is just going to get better under DeMeco Ryans because his defense is aggressive. Lovie Smith is play cover 2, rush 4.
Yeah. Like, and if you end up at the Texans, you also get Dameon Pierce and a pretty decent offensive line now. Like that offensive line is pretty fine. I saw people calling that they should go rebuild and trade Larry Tunsil, and it's like, yeah, let's just trade one of the best fucking left tackles in the league for my rookie quarterback to get his head blown off. That's
right.
Great.
Yeah.
It's a great idea. You don't need to do that when you've got a quarterback on a rookie deal. You don't need to do that. It's not something that needs to be done. Like you can rebuild, and the amount of draft capital they've got is fucking insane as well. Like it's not. You don't need to do it that way.
You always want to win, and you worry about winning. So I don't mean it that way. But the Texans have the luxury of being in a year where if they don't win, it's not a problem. So if they want to wait till week 3, week 4, week 5 to start Bryce Young, you can do that with Davis Mills.
Yeah, 100%. I'm begging. The weird thing is the Panthers started to get it together and looked pretty good with Sam Darnold, but now they've traded away DJ Moore. So they have no wide receiver 1.
I don't think he's a 1 anyway. Like I don't get why everybody.
Right. So the guy who they were playing 1 and looked decent with is a wide receiver 2. Then, so they've got a wide receiver room full of wide receiver.
Do they even have Robbie Anderson anymore either? I don't even know if he's still there.
Yeah. So they've got a wide receiver room full of wide receiver 3s, 2.5s maybe, and then their offensive line is okay. Their defense
was pretty good.
Yeah, their defense is decent.
And DJ Moore is not a scrub. I just don't put him up there as like one of those like go to the like 4th and 8 and he's got to have it type dude. You know, I just don't see him as that. I see him as a stretch the top, pretty good to really good receiver.
Yeah, and they don't have that now. they don't have that, and all the guys.
This is not the draft that like there's not a deep wide receiver draft this year.
Yeah, and they could with the 39th overall pick get a wide receiver there, like a Zay Flowers, somebody like that. Zay Flowers sounds like he might be going in the 1st, but.
Yeah, you might be able to get Quentin Johnson or Jalen Hyatt.
Yeah. Tank Dell, you could probably pick up in the 3rd. Do they have a 3rd? They don't have a 3rd because they've traded away. Oh, no, they do have a 3rd. They have the 93rd overall from the 49ers. So they have a 3rd, so they could get somebody there maybe. It's just like, yeah. If I'm Bryce Young, I'm wanting to go to the Texans. If I'm CJ Stroud at the Panthers might be okay. No, I'm wanting to.
We all want to go to the Texans just because Texas has 0 state tax.
Yeah, there's that too. What's the state tax in Carolina?
I don't know. Most state tax run between 8 and like 12%, and leaving California out of it because they're higher in New York. But yeah.
Is it North or South Carolina? North.
It's North Carolina.
State tax is 5.25
in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Okay.
5.25. So lower than average, but not zero. Not like Texas.
Yeah, you're still taking 5% of my fucking millions.
Not like Texas.
And that's on top of the federal tax. You know what I mean? So like, yeah.
I'd really rather be. I'd rather be.
The weather's
Houston,
nicer in Texas too.
I don't know. North Carolina looks all right. I'd rather be a Houston Texan than I would Carolina Panther 100%. I'd love to have Damian Pierce as my running back. Hopefully he recovers from his injury. Like if you've got Damian Pierce as your running back, you can just fucking hand that ball off most of the time.
Well, we'll get into running backs before the draft, but I hear some people saying Bijan Robinson should be wearing a gold jacket one day, which I think is pretty fucking high praise.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. The Cowboys are going to take him in the first round, probably. So
I actually don't have a problem with him going in the first round.
I don't have a problem with him going in the first round to the Cowboys because I think it fills a genuine need, and I'm not sure I'm not sure what else we would do with that pick. Now that we've got Stephon Gilmore and got a cornerback too, that we don't get me wrong, we have other holes, but just the players that are available there.
You seem very confident in a 30-some-year-old fucking corner who could fall off a cliff any second.
Yeah, could fall off a cliff any second, but he was good last year. I can only go.
But I'm just saying, when you get 30-year-old guys, maybe that's when you double down on a young corner.
No, take the young corner in the fucking second round. Give me that corner. Give me that corner in the second round. But what I'm saying is, like, if they picked anybody else but a corner in the first round, if we didn't have Stephon Gilmore, I would throw a fucking fit, especially after the Calvin Joseph issues. You know, I would go absolutely fucking mental. But
well, what if one of the two top fucking tight ends are there? That's something you could use replacing.
Yeah, I mean, don't really need a tight end though.
I think you need all the weapons you can get for that turnover machine you got behind.
Yeah. I'd take Dalton. I'd take Bijan Robinson over Dalton Kincaid. I mean, we have Tony Pollard in the backfield. I'm not sure.
Well,
Tony Pollard.
I wouldn't take the second to third best tight end either.
Yeah, I'm not with Tony Pollard in the backfield. I want another really good running back if I've got Tony Pollard in the backfield, and that's Tony Pollard is a fucking explosive machine. But if I need him to carry X amount of times in a game, then I'm not.
Here's
loving
the question:
Tony
you don't
Pollard's
even know he's ready by week 1.
Yeah, exactly. I don't love Tony Pollard's durability. So let's take Bijan Robinson. I'd never take a running back in the first round because of process, but let's just fucking do it.
And where do you guys draft?
Huh?
What number do you guys draft?
23.
No, we drafted 23. So I think you're 22 or 24.
26.
26. Okay.
We're usually really close to
each
other.
Hey, where are the Saints at since you have that pull? Do you have the whole thing pulled up?
Saints 29.
Yeah, that's right. They're behind us. Good. They'd have to trade up to get Hendon Hooker.
How did they end up at 29? What pick were they originally? Oh, they were 10 and they forfeited that pick to the Eagles.
Yeah, so I just like the idea that they're behind and they'd have to trade up to get Hendon Hooker in front of not that I know 100%, but it really sounds like they really like him in Minnesota. So
yeah.
And
do you take him? Sorry. Do you take him for contract negotiation insurance against?
If they were going to extend Kirk, they would have done it. And I know the reports Kirk was going to take a discount. Well, how big of a discount? Like, like that shit's not known. But if they were going to extend Kirk, they would have done it instead of adding 2 more void years to give us some room this year. They want. I don't think it's anti-Kirk. I think they're anti-Kirk salary on our books anymore.
Yeah, I think that's a fair stance to take, really.
And every new GM and coach wants their own guy, right? Like that's the thing. They want to come in and get their own guy. I don't think it's a knock on Kirk. I think it's just the reality of the business of football. Like he's 35, going to be 36. He gets big money, and yes, if you look at the stats, he's fucking tops every year. But it still hasn't got these guys to a Super Bowl, and I really think Kevin O'Connell wants a mobile quarterback.
Kirk Cousins is 35.
Mm-hmm.
His skincare routine is wild.
But yeah, like so I just think
skincare tutorials, you know.
It's one of those things where age plus money plus new regime equals the end of the road for a guy.
Yeah. You know.
That happened. It happened to Kendricks this year. Like they let him go because of age plus money. You know what I mean? So, and they have a young guy in Osmoa sitting behind him, ready to go. And so it's like they did a really classy thing by just releasing him. But you know, I was like, okay, it's time. Or Asamoah. I don't know what I just said. Brian Asamoah.
Yeah.
I think I said Asamoah, like Nnamdi Asamoah, the old corner, but
yeah. I think there's so many interesting storylines at the top of this draft, and one of my favorite storylines is this number four pick to the Indianapolis Colts.
What about the bullshit storyline the Packers are throwing out there that the 49ers are interested in trading for Aaron Rodgers? Like, you already know Bob Sala's been on that 49ers staff for how long. He just has to call an assistant and go, is this true? And, like, you know what I mean? Like, stop. You have zero leverage, Packers. And if Aaron Rodgers really wants to put the pressure on him, show up to OTAs for Green Bay.
Yeah. People on the Green Bay side of the media are saying, like, oh, we'll just pay his salary. It's what? They're like,
and you're going to sit him behind Jordan Love, people will lose their fucking mind.
Yeah, the leverage is to just pay his salary. And it's like, right, cool. If Jordan Love loses fucking 3 games next year, then that's it. Like, you know, then you're fucked. Your entire fan base hates you already. And on top of that, you've got 50 million sat on the fucking bench. Like, it's insane. You ruin your entire roster for next year.
Packers fans are split on Gutekunst. Half of them hate that guy. I think he's a horrible GM. And that's not even just my Packer hate, because you know I stick up for Rodgers, so it's obviously not just that. But yeah.
And also on top of that, like, Green Bay is not a free agency destination anyway.
I love this city, but if you're 25, you don't want to live here. There ain't shit to do. I'm 45. It's different.
Yeah, like Green Bay is not a free agent's favorite city to go to. So if you strap yourself with a 50 million cap hit, so you can't pay any free agents any fucking money, and Aaron Rodgers, who is your one free agent pull, isn't fucking playing, you're not going to be able to get anybody. You strap yourself for 2 years. It's insane. And just trade the fucking guy and be done with it.
And then the fact is, soon as players find out that, so I don't know if you know that this works, Maddie, but okay, so Lambeau Field is right here. Mm-hmm. Right across the street of Oneida Street is the Don Hudson Center where they practice. Every morning they have to go into Lambeau Field, into the locker room, put all their uniform on, walk out, get in their cars, and drive over to the Don Hudson Center, get out and practice, get back in their cars, drive across the street, and go back into Lambeau Field to take all their shit off.
That's ridiculous. You would think that they would build a nice training facility, wouldn't you?
Just a locker room. Just give them a locker room over there. Just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you would think, oh, it's fucking freezing cold as well. Like, that's the thing. Like, it's fucking freezing up there in the winter, right? So it's so cold. And then you just go, oh, yeah, maybe might be a good idea to build like a nice training facility where once you're in, you're in. Let's have a nice indoor training facility, and
and
just
it's
do it that
indoor,
way.
outdoor, and the facilities seem decent, but just build them a locker room over there. Like, holy fuck, like
Locker room, games room, like most organizations, most professional organizations, you don't see the fucking stadium outside of Saturday and Sunday.
no,
That's
yeah,
wild. That's crazy.
yeah, it is. It's fucking nuts, but. And like my neighbor, who's a huge Packer fan, and we talk football all the time, is always like, "Yeah, no 25-year-old wants to fucking come here," and he's only 30, and he knows no 25-year-old wants to come here.
Yeah,
you got to overpay in places like this. You to get unless you have Aaron Rodgers or somebody like that.
Exactly. Unless you have a shot. Unless you have a shot at everything. Like if you have a shot to win it, if you have a shot to win it all, then fine. But people will come live in Green Bay for a shot to win it all, right? Okay. Don't have a shot to win it all, or you might have a shot to win it all, but we don't know that you have a shot to win it all. With Aaron Rodgers, you've always got a shot to win the whole thing, but we don't. With Jordan Love, we don't know. We don't know if you have a shot. So, and I'm on the side
you
of
don't
probably.
want so let's say something crazy, and I think you touched on this, but let's say the Packers decide to act like petulant children, keep Rodgers, and start Jordan Love. Yeah, you did say, yeah, as soon as he loses a fucking game, like you ruin this kid all over again. You, for his sanity and his development, you have to get Rodgers out of that fucking building.
Yeah, Jordan Love has done such a fucking great job of just being professional, saying the right shit, like all of that this whole time. Should be commended for that. If Aaron Rodgers stays on the Green Bay Packer payroll and Jordan Love, it's not even lose a game. It's frozen interception. Like misses a wide open pass down the field. Any of that shit, he's fucked. Like, it's like what happened with Christian Watson. Like Christian Watson drops that one pass and now you've lost him for the entire first half of the season.
I like Jordan Love coming out of college. So like I'm on the record saying that I liked him. And I think it was actually great for him to sit behind Rodgers for a few years because quarterbacks don't get that experience. Now, the Viking fan in me fucking hopes this kid is garbage, but the NFL and decent human being in me hopes this kid is good. You know what I'm saying? So but you can't find out if Rodgers is still there. You just that shadow is too big.
Yeah. Just trade him. Just get rid. Like the thing is, they're actually still getting something for him. Like, I think if they went to the Jets and said, right, okay, we'll stop asking for a first, give us a second just to have it done with. Like the Jets might be more willing to just go, okay, cool, yeah, win-win, bang, second round.
Now, I agree with what you're saying, but personally, because the Jets are picking so high, I'd be like, well, you can have next year's second, and I'll give you a third this year. But but I'd play more hardball.
But like next year's second and a third this year, for me, I'd rather just have it fucking done with.
Here is why the Jets have all the leverage. The Packers have to pay Rodgers the first week of the season. Okay? Mm-hmm. Rodgers already knows the Jets system. He doesn't have to come learn it because it's Nathaniel Hackett's system, who he had in Green Bay. So as long as Rodgers is willing to get together with the receivers on their off time and throw, and he doesn't look with Lazard need any of that because him and Lazard have played a gazillion years together. So like the Jets have all the fucking leverage. I think they're just like the Packers are overplaying their hand at this point, but I still think the Jets are going to give up too much.
Yeah. They're probably going to give up too much just to fucking get it done. Like there's something to be said. I'm always on the side of things. Well, not always, but sometimes on the side of things. It's just like, do you know what? I'll pay a little bit extra. What the fuck, man? There's just no need for that.
Hey, that's Montana from
yeah.
And it's because bringing smoke gives him more shit than he gives you.
Just no fucking
he got called a bronzexual the other day.
Out of nowhere. No need. Wasn't even speaking about it.
I fucking love it.
No, fucking lost where it was. I'm always most of the time I'm on the side of I'll just pay a little bit extra just to fucking get it done. Like, just get it now. Like, I'll always pay. Like, I'll often pay the premium delivery fee because I'm just like, I just want it fucking now. Like, I'll always pay extra for Amazon Prime because it's just like, just get that shit through the door. Let's just go. Like,
I have Amazon Prime, so that's not like the
yeah.
But I'm the guy. I'm the opposite, Maddie. Wait, I gotta wait 4 more days, but it's cheaper. I'll wait the 4 days. Like, I'm different.
Yeah.
Like,
it for me, it obviously depends on price. Like, I'm making it sound like I'm an absolute baller and just like,
no, I knew what you meant.
Like fucking 20 quid. But if it's like the difference in a second and a third round pick, and just to get it done, if I know I can get it for a third round, but the difference is I can just get this done, the media can just fuck off talking about it, I'd just pay the second.
I think the Packers
I'd rather be next year's second
too.
I'd rather it be next year's second if it was me.
I think they want more than a second too.
Oh yeah, 100%. The Packers want more than a second. The same thing applies. If I'm the Packers, I'm like, right, let's just get this fucking shit done and out the door. I've had enough. I look like shit. Can we just move on with Jordan Love now, please?
It's because Gutekunst is an awful GM.
Yeah. He's not creating a positive environment for his players at all.
No, and that's the problem they had with Ted Thompson, and they didn't fix the problem moving into Brian Gutekunst. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But what are you gonna do? I think we'll get to all this, but I still think the Packers are going to be better this year than most people do. But we'll get into that when we get in after the draft and we get into our predictions.
Yeah, I mean, their most important position is how do they replace Alan Lazard?
Yeah, their receiver core, but I like that joke because it made me think for a second too. But and I keep hearing everybody going, "Oh, Rodgers had a wish list," even though this was so dismissed already. It just proves that the headline always carries more weight than actual facts.
Yeah, I'm also looking at that, and the wish list wasn't even that fucking crazy. Like, Alan Lazard is a good pickup for the Jets. You know?
Right, but they're like, of course the Jets talked to Rodgers about Lazard if they were interested in him because who knows him fucking better, right? Like,
yeah.
All right. Well, we hit here an hour. I guess we could ramble on about the NFL all day. So make sure you hit that like and subscribe. Go over to Overtime Hustling and do the same. And you guys, they're dropping all the fights from the Hot Box. They started this morning, so you can go over on Street Beef's West Coast. And I think Samurai Jack and the Arizonian is out. That was a fucking banger to start out the whole fucking Hot Box. And then I think they already dropped Viking Warrior versus Ashraf. And that was a fucking great fight too. Both of them dude are monsters and they're both really skilled. And if you pay attention on both fights, I'm over the cage like this, just sitting there. But I got blessed by them and I got to judge some of the fights. So I felt very blessed and included, and it was a great time. And they gave me free reign to go do interviews and shit like that. So I've been dropping shorts. Go check them out too. All right, guys. Well, keep your eyes open. Maddie's going to some Muay Thai shit at a bar in Thailand, so that shit might get gangster.
Yeah, it's just a random bar where they've just put a ring in the middle of it, and people just jump in and start beating the shit out of each other. Is how
you do some Muay Thai, Maddie? Make sure you're in the clinch. Head clinch means.
Yeah, is that? Yeah, that does seem like me. That does seem like something I would do. You know, crack out some Muay Thai. That's what you don't know about me, Jay. Actually, I'm a serious Muay Thai fighter. That's why I come to Thailand. It's nothing to do with teaching. It's my Muay Thai career.
Oh yeah, you're on the DL training for your Muay Thai career, doing some
not training. I'm like the champ over here.
You're doing those hidden kumite fights put on by the Yakuza.
Yeah, that's me. That's all me. I organize them and then fight in them.
Oh, now you organize them too. Wow.
I do them both. Yeah. I'm
the promoter.
I'm the head Yakuza Muay Thai organizer.
And now when Maddie disappears, it's because we talked about the Yakuza. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. One world.
China.
Oh, yeah. One world, one love. Deuces.
Cheerio.